So for the first recipe, we wanted to prepare something that is more of a snack-sized bite, something that you can make one recipe, it makes a larger batch, and then we can freeze it. And that way, if your appetite isn't the best, maybe you can have one or two in smaller portions, right? That's, I think, what we're going for here.
That's right.
And so we're gonna make some falafel. And we've done falafel before. We do different sort of variations of falafel because they do freeze really well. But today we're going to introduce maybe not everyone's favorite ingredient. I love it. I know Fatima loves it. We have some fans in the crowd. Plus this is one of the only local ingredients that you'll probably find all throughout the season, especially as it's getting colder. And you can see as I'm sort of carefully holding this so it do not stain my hands. Everyone know what this is? Beet.
Right, beet.
Yes. So this is a beet. This is a red beet. You can get different colored beets, absolutely. And this is going to be I know we have some beet haters.
Yeah.
But this is going to be one of the key ingredients. Yeah, you can use definitely.
Definitely,
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned. I mean, this is a variation we're going with, but this is going to give us some nice color, right? It's going to really improve the presentation. It's going to be visually stunning, as well as some of the nutritional benefits.
That's
right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what I'll do is add some of the other ingredients. I'm going to get Fatima.
Get prepared first.
Amazing to have an assistant to do this stuff for you.
My manicure, I can't mess it up.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
See?
Yeah. So if you don't want Halloween's over, if you don't want the kitchen scene to become a mess.
I do like this tip because it does stain my cutting boards when I work with it.
Absolutely.
Just do it on parchment
So
paper.
a little bit of parchment paper. If you do stain your cutting boards, I find that sometimes vinegar, hot water helps to get it out, but beets are really, really hard to get out. So yeah, parchment paper.
Okay.
Fatima's also suited up with some kitchen safe gloves.
Yep.
Those are food safe gloves and a grater. And so we're gonna grate the beet for our dish.
This one here?
Yeah, just right onto there. And you can use a regular cheese grater. This is sort of a fine grater. They both work. And we want about one small beet. That is probably more than what we need. So even if you grate half of that, I think that'll be good. And then for the rest of the falafel. Now I'm using a food processor here. This is a lifesaver if you have one of these at home. It saves you a ton of prep time. I know a lot of traditional falafel even use a meat grinder to get a really coarse grind on your chickpeas. But either one works. I think this one's just, it's a lot easier, it saves you a little bit of time. So we're gonna add to the food processor first, just a little bit of red onion. And not too
red
much.
onions over there.
Well, we have some onion fans for sure. So we're gonna put a little bit of red onion. We're gonna put some aromatics in here to give this falafel a lot of flavor.
How's that?
That is perfect.
More?
Great job. Look at that color. Love that color.
Beautiful.
We're gonna add a gigantic clove of garlic. You can add a baby clove if you want.
Never.
We like garlic. And we're gonna add some dates as well. Who likes dates?
What don't I like?
Yeah, love dates. And you usually find dates in maybe breakfast or like a sweet application. I find that with the earthiness of the beets and the chickpeas, it adds this really sort of sweet and sour flavor. And it also helps to bind and keep it together, which is nice. So dates, pitted, remove the pits. You'll know if you did not remove the pits. Make a lot of racket. So I got 3 dates in there. If they're hard, because sometimes if you either keep them in the fridge or if you let them sit a little too long, they become really, really hard. Just soak them in a little bit of warm water, just to soften them up a little bit. Otherwise, they won't blend properly. So those 3 ingredients first, just to get this thing started.
One of my favorite things to do with the dates is to take out the pit and just replace it with an almond or walnut.
Whoa.
Close it together. Delicious snack.
Love that. That's a nice little party.
Actually, I was going to say it's
favorite.
really good for an appetizer too, but I do it for my snacks. It's delicious. Yeah.
So you can see from that screen, so I don't even have to tip it. Thank you guys in the back. Everything is pretty much broken up into smaller little chunks. So that's exactly what we want. That way we don't get like big chunks of garlic. That's never fun. Or like a big chunk of date. And we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. So I have 1 tin of, this is rinsed and drained chickpeas. You can use soaked beans as well, absolutely. This just saves you a little bit of time. Fatima, if you don't mind.
Sure.
We'll add the beet. So the beets go in, and especially if you do not like beets, we're only adding a little bit. You're not gonna taste, it's not gonna be overpowering, especially because we have all these other fragrant ingredients in there.
Can you leave it out, or is it?
Yeah, you can leave it out too. I find when you leave it out, it just has sort of this, more of a dull beige color, right? But we're looking to add some color, to add some vibrancy. Sometimes that can stimulate appetite as well, right?
That's true.
I'm just getting a little bit more beet, just a touch more of the beet in there. Okay, fresh herbs, always great. Those are beets that I grated before.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more. I like beets, so unfortunately you guys are gonna have to.
Really good.
Some fresh herbs in there, mint, parsley. I have cilantro. I know there's a lot of cilantro haters as well. But
We're on a roll. But you can use parsley if you don't like
Absolutely.
cilantro.
Or mint. Mints will go really well.
Mint is
really nice and refreshing. We're also using the zest of the lime. You guys know how much we love using zest in this class. Wash your citrus really well. Don't throw it out. Even if you're not using it for this recipe, zest it, keep it in the freezer, and then that way you have zest to pop into some of your different recipes. So just a little pinch of salt. We're gonna add, Fatima, if you don't mind, just about a tablespoon by eye.
I have a heavy hand.
Yeah, of olive oil. Perfect. And I'm gonna add a little bit of flour. This is just a little bit of all-purpose flour. Just because I have the beet in there, beet is pretty high in water content as well. And if it's too soft, it won't come out. So the flour just helps keep everything binded together. And that is it. Pulse it. It'll turn in.
Looks pretty. Sorry.
No worries. Just gonna stir it up just a little bit here. Just so it moves. Now, if it's not moving at all, it might be too dry. So you can just add a little bit more olive oil, a little bit of water to it.
Broth?
A little bit of broth, sure. If you have any liquid, just to get it going. Actually, if you don't mind, just add us a touch more olive oil in there. That's perfect. Sure, when I want to show you guys, it's not turning at all. But a little coarse is actually good. It gives it some nice
I
texture.
was just gonna say, depends if you don't like mushy. You might want to leave it chunkier, and it might stimulate some appetite because you're actually getting some texture and not this mush around in your mouth. It's moving slowly.
Perfect. Just add a little bit more.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect. So, you can see the color, how vibrant and sort of, what is this, violet, pink?
Fuchsia.
Fuchsia?
Yeah.
All right, and that's it.
Maroon.
Maroon?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. And that's pretty much it. Falafel's done. You can season it to taste at that point. And what I like to do is I'm gonna bake them right away, and then the rest I will freeze. So I'm gonna bake them first and then freeze whatever I don't eat. So that way it's just, I can even throw them in the microwave or just heat them up quickly and they're good to go.
It's like a vegetarian meatball.
So you can use a spoon. Actually, I'll put it in the middle. I'll show you how to do it with the spoon, and Fatima will use the ice cream scoop. These ice cream scoops are amazing. I've seen them at the dollar store now.
I know.
And they're great for these little...
But you don't get the small size spoon.
They have the small ones
do.
there. I've seen the
They
small
do.
ones, yeah.
Yep.
And you can do big ones too. But if you don't have a scoop, what I do is about a good size tablespoon of the mixture is about a good size, sorry. And I just take 2 spoons and I just scrape them off each other and then put them on. So it's almost like a little oval
That's pretty
kind of shape, right? So I'll do that one more time. So a little bit, about a tablespoon's worth on the spoon, and then using another spoon, just scrape it off once, and then again to get that little oval shape.
It's like a little patty.
Perfect.
I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, you can keep going.
Sure.
And that's going to go into the oven, 375 degrees for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
So when you're having a low appetite, or you're just having one of those days where you don't feel like eating, it's never good to not eat. You should have something to eat, whether it's a small snack or a smaller meal. And these falafel balls or little patties, look how much nutrition's in there. You got your chickpeas, you got the beets, and it's not very big, right? So you can have easily 2 or 3 of these as a small snack, and you're still getting good nutrition in them.
So when I was running over there, I knew I forgot these in there. So they're a little darker than I would have liked, but that's pretty much what we're looking for. And again, freeze the rest individually on a little bit of saran wrap or a little bit of parchment paper. And then you can transfer them to a freezer bag. So that's the falafel, and we're just gonna finish it with just a little dressing. And you can eat them bite-sized like this, or you can make a little pita or sandwich with them.
Yeah. You can put them on a salad.
And for the dressing, we're gonna do a little very quick yogurt dressing. So I just have some plain yogurt here.
Did you flatten these out, or did they spread out in this recipe?
So you can flatten them a little bit if you want. These ones, yeah, I flattened out just a little bit.
So I could put more in here.
But as they're cooking, they'll actually sort of depress a little bit
Oh, do they?
on
Okay.
its own. So you don't even have to. So for the dressing, we have just a little bit of yogurt here.
Put this back here.
Perfect. We're gonna add some lime juice. Fatima, if you don't mind, I have turmeric in the freezer in a little ramekin. So we're gonna add some lime juice. We're gonna add some turmeric as well.
Didn't
So we have
say
yogurt,
which
a little bit of lime juice. So the lime that we used when we zested over here, a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of that turmeric, and like a teaspoon of honey. And you don't have to. It just adds a little bit of sweetness to the nice balance with the turmeric. And so we're gonna stir this up. But it has this really nice sort of amber color, and we can dress
Very nice.
the red or maroon or violet, whatever you want to call it.
But you brought up a good point. You want to, if you don't have a sore mouth or any sores in your mouth, you might want to play with the flavors of your dressing too, right? Change up the turmeric, add other spices that you like, just to give variety, right? So you're not too bored.
Absolutely. And there we go. So there's the beetroot falafel with turmeric lime dressing. All right.